Good morning, and this is Sheila Gordon, and this is Module 5 for the AEP 858 class, the data class, for continuous improvement. This is my story. I focused on Lexington School District 1 in Lexington, South Carolina, as in one of my previous assignments, I compared Lexington District 1, Aiken County District, and Beaufort District. And these are very similar schools, but in this presentation, I want to kind of let you know where we are in our current reality and how we can continue to improve. Just to tell you a little bit about our students, the diversity is as such. We're primarily white. We do have a growing number of African American and Hispanic students in our district. And then special education students without disabilities obviously are so much greater than the students with disabilities, but we do have a fair amount of students with disabilities in our district. College-bound students, we have in our district, we have 70% of our seniors that have completed at least a college application. And the thing that surprised me is that our socioeconomic status is that we have 43.5% of students living in poverty. And so we must be doing something right, because even if we have 43.5% of our students that are living in poverty, they have recognized the need to go to that next step. No matter if it's a 2-year college, 4-year college, they are going to that next step and have at least applied for college. 70%. That's pretty outstanding. When it comes to our test scores in English, we have done very well, especially in the exceeds and meets expectation. And you can see by this chart how we've compared to the other districts that I've looked at in the past that are very similar in size to our district and makeup with diversity. And so we're doing really well, exceeding and meeting the expectations. In English, according to the state level, Aiken exceeds or meets at 34.3%. Beaufort County exceeds or meets at 40.4%. And Lexington, where I'm focusing on, is 46.8%, where the state average is only 40%. And I'm looking here at the South Carolina College and Career Ready assessment test here. And so this is the ELA portion of that. So we've done very well when it comes to the English or the ELA as compared to the state. So again, the state is at 40% and we're sitting at 46.8%. Do we have work to do? Of course. But I think we're doing really well in making strides, especially when we're comparing to other districts. Now on to our math, our performance in math. We again have done very well with exceeding or meeting the expectations as compared to the other 2 school districts that I've looked at. When it comes to math, Aiken exceeds or meets at 34.9%. Beaufort County was at 45.6%. And Lexington School District 1, where our focus is 49.7%. So almost 50% of our students are exceeding or meeting the expectations in the math category, as opposed to the state average, which is only 42.1%. So even though we still have some work to do, we are doing very well in the area of math. Our attendance, I think these two correlate very well. Our student attendance is 95%, which I think is outstanding. I think for one, it's teaching our kids career readiness. It's important to show up to work every day. And so they're showing up to school at 95% attendance rate. So I think this really correlates well with our dropout rate that we have here in our district, which is only at 0.8%, even though that may be a little high to some folks. I think it correlates very well with the students and how driven they are to come to school. They're not willing to drop out. So our dropout rate is really low in our district. But I think that also correlates to maybe the morale and the culture that we have here in our district. Returning teachers are at 92%, as opposed to some of the other school districts I've looked at where some of them were less than 80%. So I think that's really important to know that the teacher morale is really high if you've got 92% of your teachers returning. In turn, I think that correlates to student attendance and low dropout rates. You've got teachers that care, you've got teachers that are taken care of, and as we've seen across the country, there are a lot of states that are very unhappy, a lot of teachers in states that are very unhappy. And so I think here in our district, we are very well taken care of. We have textbooks that are up to standard, and they're fairly new. We have competitive salaries where our teacher's salary, our average is $51,193. And so I think that's really important as it correlates to student performance. So again, 92% of our teachers are returning. And at the end of the day, our vision is the graduates of Lexington School District 1 are a new generation of leaders and global citizens who are self-directed, which I think is really important, self-directed, motivated. They're creative, they're collaborative, so they're not afraid to talk with each other, but not only just with each other, but other people in other states, other countries across the world. They're caring, and I think that's one thing that we're missing nowadays across the country is caring individuals. I think that's why we're seeing so much violence is because people are not caring for their neighbor. And importantly here is multilingual. In the beginning stages in elementary school, we have kids that are doing an immersion program where they may be speaking in Mandarin half a day or French half a day, Spanish half a day, and that kind of thing. So I think that's really important as the last part of this is who flourish in a global competitive 21st century. We're not only competing against other people in our school, in our classes, but also across the district, across our state, across our country, and across the world. So I think it's really important that we stick to this vision and we have a continuous school improvement plan that will help us graduate students that are definitely self-directed, creative, collaborative, caring, and multilingual. That way they can become very competitive in this 21st century. Thank you.